Are you looking for performance parts for your first generation or second generation Cruze? Check out supercruises.com today so you can order your parts directly from me. Hi everybody, welcome to Dave's World. We're jumping right into this video. I'm tired of having the bumper off on my car. I really want to get the methanol injection hooked up so I can get my bumper back on and leave it there, and then we can get the car back to the dyno. At this point, you may or may not have seen why I was hitting the boost wall during the big turbo build. I want to finish getting the car together. I want to get the methanol injection on. I want to tune the car for the meth injection and get the car back to the dyno, and I can't do that without getting the meth injection installed first. When you get methanol injection from me on the Super Cruises website, you're going to pretty much get a box just like this. My system's designed to work with the factory washer fluid tank. Before you guys say, I don't want to give up my washer fluid tank, I do have a version that puts a tank in the trunk. It is available and it will give you everything you need to put it in the trunk and run everything to the front of the car. So don't worry, you do not have to give up your washer fluid tank. All right, so this is gonna be an add-on to the video. I wanted to show everybody that I have an auxiliary tank for washer fluid. If you want to keep washer fluid under the hood, I have this tank. It's a real simple install. It has a breather on top, and there's a single line underneath so you can run the factory pump right to it and still use washer fluid. This uses about a half a gallon of fluid. I still want to retain the washer fluid tank because that uses about 2 gallons, which is perfect for methanol. And then I also changed the cap so nobody accidentally puts washer fluid in there. But this is something we can add into the kit if anybody wants it. It can also be wrapped in heat shield, which I'm not sure if we need in this spot. My original idea was over here, and heat shield may be an issue, but over here, I don't think you have to worry about it, especially since the other washer fluid tank is literally right next to it. So if you guys wanted something like this, just let me know. Also, in case you're wondering, yes, this does look like carbon fiber. I just put this in because I'm testing it and I want to see how it works out on my car before I start offering it to other people. One thing I want to note is if you have a hatchback version, you will have a thinner tank. You have less space, but there is a way to modify the tank to still work with the methanol injection. Oh, in case you're wondering what this is, I was driving around without the bumper on and this rubbed against the tires and got destroyed. So I'm just using that so it's, I don't know, out of the way. It's driving me crazy. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is we're going to mount the pump here. We need to drain the tank and, well, pretty much I need to get the car up in the air. You can pretty much do this on the ground. Okay, you have 2 ways to drain this tank. One could be by simply drilling a hole. The only reason I wouldn't do that is because if you're using a drill, you're gonna get washer fluid all over the place. The other thing you can do is just pull the pump right out and let the pump drain. I have a plug for this. You're not gonna be using this anymore anyway, unless you're using the trunk mounted system, but the trunk mounted system means you don't even have to touch this. In fact, you don't even have to take the front bumper off if you're doing trunk mounted. Another thing we can do is just unbolt the tank and flip it upside down and drain it into a bucket. I do actually have a bucket full of washer fluid because I did the same thing on my Corvette. Okay, we're draining the washer fluid out of the tank. There's a little clip here that you basically have to pop out of that section that holds this to the pump, and then this is obviously the connector for the pump. The only reason I'm keeping this in the video is just in case people have never seen Teflon tape being put on. All right, so this is your plug for the pump. Now you don't have to worry about methanol leaking out of the tank from there. Okay, so I left mounting the pump up for interpretation. You can mount this pump pretty much anywhere you want. You don't even have to use this tank. You can take my whole kit and just get your own supply tank if you want. It doesn't matter. What I did was I just drilled 4 holes so I could pretty much line up wherever I want right here. And then now I don't have to worry about getting a self-tapping screw through this. I'm gonna use right about here. I'm gonna put 2 self-tapping screws and then 1 self-tapping screw down here with maybe a couple washers behind it to give it some strength. And then I'm gonna use that same spot as a ground. Okay, so I decided to change something with the pump. You have this little piece of bracketry here that's not doing anything. I'm just gonna cut about 1 inch off of it. Once you cut this, it gives you clearance to move the pump over even more. If you're a car that has some aftermarket fog lights, I wanted to move the pump in further. That way it'll give you more clearance. I bent the bracket slightly so I can put the pump right up under the frame rail. You can pretty much do anything you want. I left this to interpretation, like I said earlier, and I just chose to do it this way because I have a pretty big fog light and I wanted a little bit more clearance, so that's why I'm doing it like this. Okay, everything is tight. What I'm gonna do is just feed this harness up, hang it over the front, drop the car down, and then I don't have to come down here anymore. One thing I can recommend is basically put water in the tank just to make sure you don't have any leaks. That way if you're leaking something, it's just water. And you can test the system with water and just spray it out of the injector before you actually go put it in your intake pipe. That way you make sure you don't have any leaks. Alright, this goes to the injection pump. So this is the wire harness you saw me attach to the pump. It's nice and long, so you can pretty much run your module anywhere you want inside the cab. This does have to go through the firewall. I also ran the injector supply line. Now this is nice and long because you can put your injector pretty much anywhere you want. You could run it in front of the intercooler if you want. You could run it up to the throttle body. You could run it even here. However, closest to the throttle body as possible will give you the best performance and best cooling. But if you want to use it just to cool your intercooler, I left the line nice and long so you can route it anywhere you want. So I basically come up underneath the headlight. I routed it past the box. Then I'm going to be running an ejector. The vacuum and boost port will be here, and then I'll also be running a temperature probe so you guys can see what the methanol injection actually does temperature-wise in the other videos that I film. So I want to end this video here because I want to make this video just about installing the injection pump and basically getting the tank ready for meth injection. A few things I want to go over. This is your typical meth injection injector. And these are your typical meth injection lines. My system uses high pressure lines. These are stainless steel braided lines. They're designed to be tightened with a nut and sealed. These are good for probably 1,000 PSI or something like that. Even if it's a couple hundred, it's way more pressure than these. So this is basically a plastic line. It might be maybe a nylon. You can't run 100% methanol in here. And if you're after horsepower, you want 100% methanol. The other problem is these are push lock. They literally can pop off. So these are only good for a little bit of pressure. The other problem is methanol will eat right through this. So even if you use a 50-50 meth injection system, eventually over time, these will literally just melt. My injection pump uses stainless steel internals. A regular methanol injection pump, like a cheap kit, like a $400 one, you know, you might get an injection system for like $400, but then, you know, every year you have to spend 150, 200 bucks on a pump because the pump ends up going bad or the lines end up melting. You know, this is basically, this can melt with heat. So if you run this too close to your engine, this can literally melt open and then you'll spray methanol all over your engine. I just don't like these systems, which is why the system I'm putting out for the Chevy Cruze is so advanced. I mean, it literally has pressure sensors to let you know when the pump is running. There's warning lights on the dashboard. There's low-level lights to let you know when you need to fill up your methanol. I set it up on the tank, at least in my car, so that even when it's low, I still have about, you know, a half a gallon left. And, you know, I'm not going to run my tank empty. You can adjust things on the fly. I mean, there's a lot of things going on with this system that I think is very important for people. One other thing that I did come up with is, in the video, you saw me basically fiddling with a piece of metal. My original idea was to make the pump on the frame just straight down and we're done. You had to rotate the pump and basically the base of the pump. Then I decided, oh, you know what, I want more clearance because there's a lot of people that have aftermarket fog lights, because I do have testers that basically had a few issues here and there. So I came up with something since then that's adjustable. So basically this part would go on the frame, this part would go on the pump, and you can literally offset the pump any direction you want. So you can now go on the frame, offset over, and push the pump over further into the engine bay. And you can flip this around and you can get upwards of like 6 inches of offset and like 6 to 8 inches up and down of offset. So I really like having some adjustable brackets. You know, I'm gonna start putting some add-ons into the website. So if you guys want like cool stuff like that, so you can sort of change the design of the methanol injection that I'm selling, or if you want to basically change the location or you want some adjustability, I will have stuff like that on the site for you guys. So thanks again. I appreciate all the support everyone's giving me. Hopefully you're enjoying this video series because I really want to show the Generation 2 Cruze in its best form, and I want the most power we can get out of this thing. And just so everyone knows, I haven't even touched the exhaust system on this car. This is all street legal horsepower that no emissions are modified. I don't have a downpipe. I have the factory exhaust going from basically all the way out to the back of the car. I just have some really nice exhaust tips on the rear. So, you know, I'm getting these kind of power numbers out of basically nothing illegal done. You know, a lot of people cut catalytic converters off and they change their to a downpipe and they're running their exhaust out of the hood because they're after horsepower and sound. I'm after power. A loud car is great, but at the end of the day, you know, I run a YouTube channel and I don't need the EPA coming after me because I did something illegal. I want to do this street legal, and I want to show you guys the power you can get out of your car legally without having to make dumb decisions. So have a nice day, everyone, and if you ever need anything, please feel free to contact me.